They say your entire existence might be shaped by karmic footprints left centuries ago. What if your anxieties, passions, and random fascinations are all echoes from a life you once lived? It's an unsettling thought that your modern reality, with all its technologies and complexities, may be woven together by threads of memory older than your present body. This isn't some mystical daydream. Around the world, stories abound of children recounting details from eras they never studied, or individuals haunted by vivid visions of lifetimes they've never lived. Some are quick to dismiss it all as a psychological quirk or fantasy, but there's a lingering question that won't go away. Could these tales point to something more profound, a secret that modern science has only begun to approach with caution? Keep watching, because this journey inevitably circles back to the most perplexing puzzle of all. How much of your present life isn't purely your own creation? We've all sensed moments where a place, a face, or a taste ignites a swirl of déjà vu, a mysterious pull that doesn't quite align with our current biography. Is it mere coincidence, or a tether to something deeper? Many spiritual traditions, from Hinduism to Buddhism, have long taught that we carry echoes from past incarnations, samskaras that shape our likes, dislikes, and life patterns. Even some psychotherapists dabble in past life regression hypnosis, claiming that hidden traumas from previous lives might explain our modern-day fears. Critics argue it's all psychological suggestion, yet the evidence is rarely black and white. Famous cases, such as a child in Lebanon recounting a life as a soldier in an earlier conflict, complicate the conversation. These stories stand on the precipice between wonder and skepticism, urging us to look closer. What if your phobias or your strange recurring dreams are not random at all, but subtle messages from a time before your own birth? Imagine this. You unexpectedly remember a skill you've never learned in this life, like playing an ancient instrument or speaking a nearly extinct language. Sounds impossible, right? And yet, many documented accounts suggest precisely that. Contradiction echoes throughout these reports. Modern rationality insists we start life as a blank slate, yet these perplexing anecdotes suggest otherwise. Enter Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist who meticulously investigated thousands of children who professed memories of past lives. He discovered consistent birthmarks matching fatal wounds from their so-called prior existence. As shocking as it sounds, official records sometimes corroborated their claims. Could these anomalies be random flukes, or are they puzzle pieces revealing a different structure of human consciousness? If the mind stores data beyond our present identity, perhaps our brains are not the sole repositories of memory. Maybe there's a grander tapestry weaving each of us into a timeline that has no definitive beginning or end. The emotional weight of these stories is undeniable, like a mother who instantly recognizes a trait in her newborn that once belonged to her departed brother. That uncanny sense of recognition can spark both hope and confusion. We cling to logic, but there's a part of us that finds comfort in believing we never truly lose the people we love, that we reunite again and again across the centuries. Isn't there something strangely heartwarming in the thought that bonds of love might transcend a single lifetime? And yet, it can be a double-edged sword. Imagine discovering that your deepest fears spring from unresolved nightmares lived generations before. It's akin to rummaging through a dusty attic filled with half-forgotten relics of heartbreak, joy, and regret. Every earlier life might leave behind a subtle imprint, a longing or hesitation in the present that can't be easily explained away, but begs for deeper understanding. This opens a doorway into more intricate questions. How do we break free from burdens that aren't even ours to begin with? If your stance is purely scientific, you might demand tangible proof. Lab-coated researchers testing reincarnation claims, hooking brains up to advanced neural imaging, or analyzing patterns in an attempt to find something repeatable and testable. Modern science does flirt with the concept of consciousness surviving bodily death, albeit tentatively, in fields like near-death studies. Meanwhile, in quantum mechanics, we're learning that reality is more entangled and less linear than we'd ever imagined. Could we be on the edge of discovering that consciousness might recycle itself, much like energy in a closed system? If so, everything from your unexplained phobias to your uncanny strengths might be the result of cycles of existence. With each new revelation, the question deepens. Is your present identity a self-contained phenomenon, or a living tapestry woven from countless lifetimes? The answer, if one truly exists, might be hidden among the dusty archives of ancient texts or tucked away in the cryptic experiments of forward-thinking researchers. We might be just a few steps away from the kind of data that turns skeptics into believers. Yet definitive answers remain elusive. Perhaps that's by design, ensuring that we continue to seek and question rather than settle into complacency. But let's entertain the notion that your soul is a cosmic traveler, journeying through realms that our modern vocabulary can barely encompass. If that's the case, the experiences you have today might be the key lessons you failed to learn in a previous cycle, or triumphs that echo from a time when you last overcame similar struggles. What if the essence of your life right now is part cherished memory, part open ledger, waiting for you to either repeat old patterns or finally transcend them? So do you sense a certain memory tugging at you right now? An unexplainable fascination for ancient civilizations, an irrational dread of open water, or a peculiar sense of belonging the moment you step into a centuries-old temple? It's easy to dismiss these stirrings as mere flights of fancy. Yet countless individuals report that once they delve into a past life exploration, these visceral impulses turn out to be more than random quirks. Rituals, genealogical research, and even hypnotic sessions can sometimes yield uncanny revelations, bridging present behaviors to events that seem rooted in a completely different identity. Science remains cautious, but it can't fully explain away the near-perfect correlations discovered in certain case studies. Are these glimpses of hidden knowledge your mind's way of reconciling ancient experiences with modern life, or are we simply longing to find meaning in a vast, chaotic universe? The deeper we look, the more complex and fascinating our individual narratives become. If your past lives do influence your present, then everything changes. The moral choices you make today could echo into the next cycle. The joys and passions you cultivate might be remnants of a life well lived, or signposts guiding you toward yet another chapter of self-discovery. But it's not enough to simply wonder. We must question, investigate, and share our experiences. Perhaps it's time for a more radical introspection. Instead of asking, "Who am I?" dare to ask, "Who have I been?" The possibilities might upend your sense of reality, but they also open a door to profound healing and growth. If you've ever suspected there's more to your story than meets the eye, now is the moment to explore that hunch. Share your theories or astonishing personal accounts in the comments. Is all of this just wild conjecture, or have you felt echoes guiding you from a life you can't quite remember? Let's keep this conversation alive and dive deeper into the mystery together.